Hi you guys, welcome back to the Review Network. So today I want to talk about Umbrella Academy Season 3. Oh my god, this season was absolutely amazing. I don't know about you guys, but this is definitely one of my favorite live action superhero films so far. I like a lot of them, but this one is by far the best in my opinion. And I can't wait for more. Truly cannot wait for more. Now, some of the things I want to talk about is like the opening scene. I want to talk about that first, actually. So, with the opening scene, I think out of the 3 seasons, this was probably my least favorite. I wasn't the biggest fan of this opening scene. It was okay. It was like funny. It had a little action, but it was not my favorite. And then the CGI, they normally never have issues with CGI, and they really didn't have issues at all in this season either. The biggest part of just like where the CGI was like really messy for me was just the view of the city. Every time that happened, it just kind of was extremely noticeable, and I could not help but notice that the CGI was just really bad there. But other than that, it still was good. Everything else was good as far as like using the powers and things like that. I still had no issues there. Now I want to talk about one of the antagonists, Harlem. Harlem was one of the antagonists. Now he was the little boy from season 2, from the farm with Vanya. And we see that Vanya wasn't able to extract all of her abilities from him. And so over time that kind of grew, and it causes conflict to their present day, because it altered the timeline when Harlem had a moment of not being able to control his abilities, and that resulted in him killing all of their mothers, which made them not exist in the current timeline. Also, they had visited Hargreaves, and he realized that they're not the kids for him, so he found new ones. So when they get back to the present day, they are introduced to a completely new academy. Not even the Umbrella Academy; it's the Sparrow Academy. So they're having to deal with just like being booted out of their homes, and their timeline is already messed up because they don't exist. So now they're having to figure out what to do. Some of them have just like decided to move on. Others have just like, I have to figure things out because there's people that I love, only to find out that nothing that they know exists in this timeline. So it's just really frustrating for a lot of them, just trying to figure out what to do next. And because they came back to a present day, awoken, a Kugelblitz, which is just the result of a very messed up timeline, and they're just trying to deal with that as well throughout the series. So that was another like issue they was dealing with, was the Kugelblitz. And eventually both teams had to come together, which took literally almost the end of the season, and half of the team, or majority of the team, was dead. So that was an issue. But overall they managed, but now I want to just talk about some of the characters. Mostly just focusing on the Umbrella Academy. So I'm going to start off with Klaus. Klaus was a standout. I love his character. I love everything about his character, but also his powers. His powers are so unique. All of their abilities are unique, but I think Klaus's is the most interesting because his powers deals with life and death. More so death, but I feel like we're being introduced to the other side of his abilities as well, which is life. The fact that he's immortal and that he can, make ghosts temporarily, visible for a moment, like flesh almost, even down to them using their abilities. I think that's just showing that he possibly can bring people from the afterlife to the real life. So I just thought that was really interesting, and I can't wait to see them explore his abilities more. He didn't have the biggest storyline. I think most of his storyline was just pretty much training and just like learning his abilities, which was enjoyable. If you've seen it, it's really enjoyable to watch, especially that bus scene. Then moving on to Allison, we see Allison go down this like dark path, because she was just dealing with a lot of pain, like of loss, and so I think all of that just kind of built up on her, like just they've been going nonstop, and I think she's lost so much that she just don't know how to deal with it anymore, and the support she want, I don't think she has, mostly because everybody's just trying to figure out what to do as well. Like everybody's life is torn apart because they don't exist in this timeline, and nothing that they were they had in the past is there with them now. So it's just like figuring that out. And I feel like Allison just really just didn't know what to do with that, and it just made her angry, and she put all that anger towards her family, and it just was a really dark. It was a really dark moment for her. It was a lot of betrayal and just a lot of lies and things like that. But she did manage to get a bit of a power growth and redemption towards the end, I guess. Maybe, I guess you could say. But it was just like, I really hate that she went through so much like that, and she was portrayed. I'm not gonna say as a villain, but she was pretty hardcore. She was pretty hardcore. She killed people, so she was pretty hardcore this season. But I do love that they focused on her powers, because a lot of something I've been saying for the last 2 seasons is, what are they going to do with her abilities? As you were watching all the other siblings grow in abilities, we wasn't sure what she was going to do with hers, or how hers was going to increase at all. But now we saw a major growth, because now she doesn't have to rumor anybody. She just says what she wants them to do, and it happens. So I think that was really great on how they increased that, and I can't wait to see them do more with her abilities, because she definitely needs to find some way of some unique ways of using her abilities. I feel like there's some ways out there that they just haven't thought of. I might do a separate video focusing on like a fan theory as to how each of them can upgrade their abilities. Moving on to Vanya/Victor. Vanya went through some changes, coming from the past. She had fell in love with a woman, and just realized that, when she got to the present, she started to really just sit and reflect on herself, and she realized that, she prefers to be a man. She feels more masculine, and we see her go through that change, and now he is Victor. And so, Victor is just just dealing with everything that's happening, and I think he really just want to be more humble. He's always been looked at as the villain, so I think that's made him just the decision making he's been doing has been more this is what a good guy would do, right? Type of scenario, which wasn't a good thing in the moment, and I think it just took number 5 conversations. It's sometimes being a hero means you have to make the tough decisions, sacrifice the few to save the many, and I think that was just something he just didn't want to do, because he had already been looked at as the villain these last 2 seasons, and he just really wanted to change, and that was understandable. Now he was learning how to increase his ability. I feel like he got all of his more power now that he extracted all of his powers from Harlem. But also I think Harlem taught him how to focus on the sound more precisely, because you got to keep in mind that is the true power of Victor, is sound, turning sound into energy. And I think being more precise and not just burst is not using more power, but being more precise is what growth that Victor needs for his ability. Moving on to Luther. Luther had a love story. He wasn't really on the forefront. He was really in the background, even though he had a lot of screen time. I think his biggest moments were just falling in love and that type of stuff. Of course, helping out the team with everything, but ultimately he kind of towards the end he just wanted to give up. He just didn't want to do anything, which resulted in his death, of course, because Hargreaves was not having him messing up those plans. So that was really unfortunate. There was no power growth in Luther, and that's kind of unfortunate, because We haven't seen any power growth from him since season one. Like nothing that stands out. Like in season two, he was barely able to lift up a tractor. I feel like the average bodybuilder can lift up a tractor. So are you even super? Do you even have super strength? Is it just average strength with just like a little like gorilla muscle? But yeah, that's something they need to figure out with his ability. Honestly, I thought that they want to use the fact that he has the half of his body is like a monkey, or whatever it is, a chip, whatever it is. The other half is that, and I thought they was gonna make him more like focus on the agility that being able to just do that, kind of like a beast. I thought they were gonna be able to do that as far as like character development. They didn't do nothing with that, and then only for him to be completely flesh. He's alive again. He's human, and he doesn't have the ape half of him anymore. So I just feel like, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens with his character now. Hopefully, they can focus on his powers like a little bit. That would be nice. And now number five. Number five is another one who didn't have much of a storyline this season. We kind of focused on him just helping out the team with that. Although number five is just really tired of just like dealing with all of this. Like, you got to keep in mind, he's been doing this for the longest. He's like technically a 60-year-old man. So he's been doing this for a long time, and he's really just tired. And I think when he realized that, they don't exist in this timeline, he could just chill. I don't think he really, and that's really kind of what he wanted to do, was just chill. Like, he didn't want to fight anymore. But of course he had to when he realized that them being there resulted in the Kugel Blitz and just many other things. And so even though he still didn't want to do it, he still managed to help them figure out what they need to do to save the world again. But yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with his powers either. He has a pretty amazing power. His only thing is control. So eventually, hopefully they figure out a way to help him want to learn how to control these abilities, because he has a pretty amazing power, and it just sucks that he's not able to utilize it properly, because it'd probably be the most handy one out of the entire group. So it would be nice if they eventually can figure that out. But I feel like once he learned how to use his ability, that'll make things way too easily. Like, he wouldn't mess up with the timeline anymore. They wouldn't have a timeline storyline. So I see why they haven't done that yet. But moving on to Diego, he's another one who had a love story, and I feel like his character did do a little bit of a development, just being more like calm and subtle and a little understanding too. Seeing as how he had to raise, well, not raise, but he was pretty much babysitting and barely doing that. Stanley, which was another character that was brought in through Lila. And basically she was saying that was their son, turned out not to be, but she was pregnant. So I feel like he was just trying to figure out, what to do with that. Like, I think she was just testing him to see if he was going to be a father. Of course, Stanley ended up dying, and I'm going to get into that soon. Yeah, I'm going to get into that because I'm not too happy about that. But yeah, he didn't really have much of a character development either, but it was really nice to see him fall in love and really just seem like a Family Guy type of scenario, and I really love that for his character. I also want to point out Lila. I hope I'm saying her name right. I love her character. She's a standout too. She has such a standout personality because she's such a strong woman, and not overly strong. Like, she's not like a feminist, like a overpowered feminist or something like that. She's just like, I'm a woman. Like, she don't even address that part. She just like, I can do what you can do. Like, I don't know why you keep trying to like hinder me from helping, and I'm gonna help. I'm gonna save the world just as much as you are. I don't know why you're trying to hold me back as if I need to be rescued or something. So I love that about her character. Moving on to Ben. Ben's acting skills is amazing. I love the actor who plays Ben. Flawless. I was truly watching a different character this season, and I love that. I really love that. It's just, I love when you can show your range as an actor, and he 1000% showed his range as an actor. So I I definitely know we're going to see more of him. So moving on to Stanley. Stanley is a character that was introduced this season as, Lila and Diego's son, which it wasn't. He was just a kid from a different timeline who she used, whatever. But it was unfortunate to see his character go because he was really likable. And I'm going to be honest, it was such a disappointment because we had just saw him in Euphoria, the actor. We just saw him in Euphoria, and we loved him there. So it was really, really unfortunate to see him come to another show of mine that I love and die off there too. I was just like, when he died in Euphoria, I was like, okay, this is really sad and messed up. But then I was like, oh, but he's going to be in another show of mine that I love, so that's okay. Only for him to die there too. So I really wish a show would just realize this guy has the just it factor when it comes to just being likable as a character. Somebody needs to be like, we're going to keep you. You're here to stay. I wish somebody would do that, but they just keep killing them off of really great shows. That's unfortunate. And Hotel Oblivion, I was a little disappointed about that as well. I never read the comics, but just based off of how people were hyped up about it, I thought that was going to be like the biggest part of the show. But it wasn't. It was not. We really just got most of that towards the end, and it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be, which was like unfortunate for me because I guess I shouldn't have overhyped myself about that. But I still would have liked to see like something else with that. Like I felt like there should have been more, the way they were just trying to sneak it up on us and whatnot. But they didn't, and that's okay because overall the show was still amazing and still lands at number one for me. Now, I feel like the Umbrella Academy needs a break, and I feel like now that they don't have any powers, they're definitely going to get at least an episode in the next season of just having a break and just maybe just like kind of just like soaking all of this in, like everything that's happened. I feel like we definitely need an episode of just like them understanding everything that's happening. Like I don't even think all of them realize what the next person can do. Like, I feel like they still are, grouped up together to figure all of that out. And I would love like a moment of just like, let's just like take a break. Let's explore. Let's have a fun day or something. I don't know, but it just was like it's back to back. They do not get a break. Of course, now I think they're definitely going to get one now that they don't have any powers. I don't know what they're going to do about that in the next season, seeing as how we saw Hargreaves ruling the world pretty much at the end. We see that the timeline has changed again. They do exist. They're all back to normal, but they don't have any powers, and Hargreaves owns everything. So another question, is he a villain or an anti-hero? I'm gonna go with villain just because he's killed people without a second thought, and like I get it, he's an alien or whatever, but it's just like you don't have an emotional attachment. You obviously have an emotional attachment to people or just to things, anything, because you have a wife. So I was curious as to what they were going to do with that, because it wasn't very clear as to what his role was. Because I was curious about why did he go through all that trouble of training Klaus? Because if it was just for just like to get his get him on his side to get the rest of the crew to like agree to doing this, then I feel like all he had to do was have a really good conversation and probably even smoke a little bit, with Klaus, and that would have done the job. But you went as far as training him and everything to gain his trust. I feel like there was more to that. Like, this is what's crazy to me. You knew what his ability was going to be, immortality, only for you to like attempt to kill him off. I just did not understand that. So can somebody please explain that to me? Anybody, please? And what Ben was that at the end credit scene? Like, I need to know what Ben that was at the end. Was it the Ben we know, or is it the Ben from this timeline? Because the Ben we saw from this timeline of season 3, he came out of the little reset thing with the rest of the crew. So, we saw him there. So who was that on the train? Had to be a different Ben, but can there be two different Bens in the same timeline existing? That's something interesting I would love to know. Is that, or maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I have theories, but I might do another video that, is going to do more of a breakdown of my theories. And then lastly, what is the Jennifer incident? Like, what is that? They keep hinting at that. You guys, if you know anything, please let me know, because I'm so curious why they keep hinting at this Jennifer incident. I know we're probably going to find out in the next season, hopefully. But, I'm just really eager to know now. Like, they keep hinting at it. Is it something that I'm missing? Let me know in the comments below. But that's all the time, you guys. I just wanted to talk to you guys about the Umbrella Academy and my thoughts on it. Overall, I thought it was an amazing show. Still, it topped all the other ones, in my opinion. This show is it's doing really well. I feel like it can go for a while. I don't know how many comic book issues there are for the Umbrella Academy, but hopefully it's enough for them to give us at least a solid 6 seasons. I would love at least 6. Like, I can't let it end at 4. Please don't do that. Do not let it end at 4, because a lot of shows, especially on Netflix, like to end at 4, and I would really like it to just keep going. Just do not stop. Okay, but that's all, you guys. Thanks for watching and listening to the Review Network.